Welcome to the Deep Fear channel. Watch closely, stay alert, and don't forget to subscribe. Story 1. The Night Shift at Hollowgate Mall. I got hired as a security guard at Hollowgate Mall 2 weeks after it officially closed to the public. The job listing said, overnight security, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Monitor cameras, patrol the property, $25 per hour. I didn't think much about it. I'd worked a few gigs like that before. Warehouses, storage yards, even a county fairground that was haunted, according to the locals. Hollowgate Mall was different, though. The place had been the biggest shopping center in our county back in the 1980s. 2 stories, 140 stores, an indoor fountain, and even a tiny movie theater. It went downhill fast after 2018. Half the stores closed, then COVID hit, and the rest never came back. Now it was this dead concrete whale sitting in the middle of an empty parking lot, lights flickering like a dying circuit board. My boss was Rick, head of private security. When I showed up for my first shift, he gave me a quick tour. Main office here, cameras on that wall. Don't go near the basement, that's maintenance only. You'll hear noises sometimes. Pipes, air vents, raccoons maybe. Don't freak out. Then he added something that didn't sit right. And if you see any kids, don't chase them. Just call me. Kids, I asked. You mean trespassers? Rick shrugged. Sort of. He didn't elaborate. My first few nights were boring. Just how I liked it. I'd walk the upper level around midnight, grab a soda from the vending machine, check that the doors were locked, then come back to the office and stare at the monitors. There were 24 cameras, most showing dark hallways, empty storefronts, or escalators that hadn't moved in months. But one camera, Cam 6, near the old food court, always glitched. Every few minutes it flickered and warped like static on an old VHS. Once, I thought I saw a shape move through the food court, a blur of white. I rewound the footage. Nothing. Just that fuzzy distortion again. At around 2:30 a.m., the PA system crackled. Security to the atrium, please. I froze. The intercom wasn't connected to any public network, just our security office. Rick had told me no one else used it. I grabbed my flashlight and started down the hall. The mall smelled like dust and old popcorn. My boots echoed off the tile. When I reached the atrium, the big open area with the fountain, it was completely empty. But the fountain was running. I swear to God, the thing was dry when I'd patrolled earlier. Now, water gushed from all 4 spouts, splashing over broken tiles. The sound was deafening in the silence. Then, over the trickle of water, I heard something else. A whisper. Security to the atrium. I spun around, flashlight trembling. No one there. When I turned back, the fountain had stopped. Bone dry again. Next morning, I told Rick what happened. He didn't even look surprised, just sighed. Cam 6? He asked. Yeah. How'd you know? He rubbed his eyes. That camera's been acting up since before I got here. Don't worry about it. He poured himself coffee and added, almost like a joke, they say the fountain used to be where the old mall owner dropped dead during the grand opening. Heart attack. Maybe he's still checking the place. I laughed weakly, but that night I started saving the footage. Every time Cam 6 glitched, I marked the time. Between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m., the distortion always appeared, but not random static. When I slowed the footage down, I could see frames, half-second blips of a figure standing near the fountain. It looked like a man, Bald head, white shirt. I couldn't make out his face, but he was staring directly into the camera. Oh! On my fifth night, I decided to walk the route leading to the food court. As I passed the old J.C. Penney, I heard the sound of footsteps ahead. They weren't mine. Someone was walking fast, hard-soled shoes clicking against tile. "Hello?" I called. The sound stopped. I flashed my light. The hallway stretched 50 feet ahead, leading to the fountain area. No one. Then, the PA again. "Security to the atrium." The voice wasn't Rick's. It was deeper, slower, like someone mocking him. "Security to the atrium." I ran back toward the office. The door was open. The monitors were all showing static. All except Cam 6. On it, the fountain was running again. And the man in the white shirt was standing next to it, holding something. My flashlight. I looked down at my hand. My flashlight was still there. I shut the monitor off. The next day, I tried calling Rick. He didn't pick up. At 9 p.m., just before my shift, I got a text. "Rick, don't come tonight. Techs are working on the system." I replied, "What's going on with the cameras?" No answer. Around midnight, curiosity got the better of me. I drove there anyway. The mall was dark except for the emergency lights. I swiped my badge. The lock clicked green. Inside, the air felt heavier, warmer somehow. I went to the office. All the monitors were off, except one. Cam 6 was running. And there, sitting in front of the fountain, was Rick. He was slumped over, his security cap on the ground. His face was turned away, but his arm moved in slow circles, like he was tracing something in the water. I grabbed my radio. "Rick?" No response. When I zoomed in, I noticed something on the tiles near him. Writing, smeared in water. Words. "Stay after lights out." Then Rick's head snapped toward the camera. He wasn't smiling. He wasn't even blinking. His mouth was open and water was pouring out. I didn't remember running out of the mall, but I must have, because next thing I knew, I was in my car halfway down Hollowgate Road, shaking. I called 911, but when the cops checked the place, they said no one was there. "Place has been locked up for days," one officer told me. "Your boss?" "We found his badge in the office, but no sign of him." I showed them the footage I'd saved on my laptop. When they opened the file, it was just static. Every single clip corrupted. They told me to go home. That night, around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. No caller ID. I answered. Stupid, I know. "Security to the atrium." Same voice. I threw the phone across the room. It's been 6 months since that night. I quit the security business for good. But sometimes, when I can't sleep, I go online and check local job boards. A few weeks ago, I saw a listing, "Now hiring, overnight security, Hollowgate Mall. Monitor cameras, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Call Rick." There was a phone number. And the weird thing is, it looked exactly like my old work number, except 1 digit off. I called it from a burner just to see. After 2 rings, a man answered. "Hollowgate Security, Rick speaking." I hung up immediately. That night, my phone buzzed again. No caller ID. I didn't answer, but the voicemail came through. "Security to the atrium." Last week, I got a small package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a USB drive labeled CAM6. I knew I shouldn't open it, but I did. The file started like normal. Fountain, empty food court. Then the static rolled in. Through the distortion, a man appeared on the screen. It was me. I was sitting by the fountain, tracing words on the tile. The camera zoomed in automatically, like it was moving on its own. The word said, "Stay after lights out." Then, in the reflection of the water, I saw someone behind me. Bald head, white shirt. He leaned close to my ear. I could almost hear him whispering through the speakers. "Security to the atrium." The lights flickered, and the screen cut to black. 2 days later, a friend from the county sheriff's office called me. "Hey," he said, "you used to work at Hollowgate, right? Thought you want to know. They finally sold the property." "Yeah," I said, my voice cracked. "Yeah, they're turning it into an indoor storage facility. But here's the weird part. The contractors keep quitting. Say the cameras won't stay off. Every time they disconnect the system, the monitors turn back on by themselves, always showing the same feed, the food court fountain." He paused. Guess what else? It's running again. Story 2. Ward 9. I took the night security position at Ridgeway Medical Center because it was the only place hiring. My hours were 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., 5 nights a week. Easy work, they said. Just patrol the halls, check the locked wings, make sure no junkies sneak in. The hospital wasn't fully operational anymore. Ridgeway had been shutting down section by section for years. Only the ER, maternity, and one small surgical unit still ran 24/7. The rest, the upper floors, psych wards, and long-term care units, were closed off. My supervisor, a woman named Karen, gave me a key ring that could probably open Fort Knox. "Stay out of Ward 9, she told me. "They're supposed to start demolition there soon. Whole floor's unstable. You'll see the signs." I nodded. "What's on Ward 9, anyway?" She hesitated. "It used to be the geriatric psych wing. Nobody's been up there since the fire." "What fire?" But she just smiled, in that tight, don't ask kind of way. Hospitals at night don't feel like hospitals. They feel like tombs. Even with the fluorescent lights on, the corridors hum in that constant electric pitch that eats at your nerves. Machines beep in the distance. You hear wheels rolling somewhere, but you never see who's pushing them. That first night, I walked the usual route: emergency exit check, ground floor sweep, elevator lobby, and back to the security office near the main desk. At 2:14 a.m., the intercom crackled. "Code Blue, Ward 9. I froze. There was no Ward 9 anymore. It had been shut down years ago. I grabbed my radio. "Karen, you hear that?" No response. "Base, this is Security 1. Who triggered that alarm?" Nothing but static. I turned toward the elevators. For a second, I swore the 9 button was glowing faintly, even though every button above 6 was supposed to be disabled. I told myself it was a wiring glitch. Still, I couldn't stop staring at it. Second night, 3 a.m., I was in the cafeteria when I heard the doors open behind me. A man in a hospital gown walked in. He was barefoot, shuffling slowly, dragging an IV pole that wasn't connected to anything. I called out, "Sir, you lost?" He didn't answer. He just stared at me, or through me. His eyes looked cloudy, like he hadn't slept in years. I stepped closer. "Let me help you get back to your room." Then I noticed something strange. The ID band on his wrist said, Ward 9. Before I could ask anything, he turned and walked toward the elevators. "Hey," I called. "You can't go up there." He pressed the 9 button. The doors closed before I could reach him. When I got to the console, the lights were off. All the buttons dark. The elevator didn't move. It hadn't moved in years. In the security office, there was an old VCR setup connected to the camera system. The upper floor's cameras were disconnected long ago, or so I thought. That night, one of the feeds flickered on. CAM 9-2, hallway view. For a few seconds, static. Then movement. A shadow passed across the hall. Slow, uneven, like someone limping. I printed the timestamp, 3:07 a.m., exactly when the man had walked into the elevator. The next day, I went digging. The records room smelled like mildew and paper rot, but I found an old box labeled Ward 9 Incidents, 2003 to 2006. Most of it was paperwork, treatment notes, medication logs. Then one folder caught my eye. Fire Report, 2006. The short version? A patient named Arthur Bell, male, 72, had set fire to his bedding during a psychotic episode. Smoke filled the entire ward. 5 patients died of smoke inhalation before anyone reached them. Arthur was among them. Cause of death, asphyxiation. But the strangest part, according to the nurse statements, was that the fire alarm never went off. Only the elevator alarm did, and it kept repeating one phrase through the intercom: Code Blue, Ward 9. Night 4. I didn't plan to go near Ward 9 again, but when the intercom buzzed that same phrase, Code Blue, Ward 9, curiosity got the better of me. I took the service elevator just to prove to myself it was impossible to reach that floor. The button panel only went up to 6. I hit 6, watched the doors close. The lights flickered. Then, instead of stopping, the elevator kept going. The digital display rolled past 6, 7, 8, and stopped at 9. When the door slid open, a wave of cold air hit me. The lights were dim, the walls stained black with soot. Medical carts lay overturned in the hall. I stepped out slowly, radio in hand. Base, I'm on, Ward 9. Anyone copy? Static. The smell of burned plastic clung to everything. Somewhere down the corridor, something metallic clanged. Hello? A wheelchair rolled out of a side room, spinning slightly before stopping. No one was in it. On the wall behind it, I saw something written in ash. Code Blue, Ward 9. And then, faint but clear, someone whispered from inside one of the rooms. I can't breathe. I don't remember much after that. I think I blacked out, maybe from fear, maybe from smoke, even though there was no visible fire. When I woke, I was lying in the elevator, door open, back on the first floor. Karen was standing over me, furious. What the hell were you doing? I was on 9, I stammered. The elevator took me there. There's still stuff up there. Her expression softened just a little. You weren't on 9, she said quietly. That floor was sealed off 10 years ago. There's no power up there, no elevator access, nothing. She told me to go home and rest. When I came back the next night, my badge didn't work. There was an envelope taped to the security door with my name on it. Inside, a termination notice and a flash drive. No note. I plugged it into my laptop at home. Only one file inside, CAM 9-2 _LAST _FEED.MP4 ... The video showed the burned hallway I'd seen, same angle, same lighting. Then a man appeared at the far end. He was wearing a hospital gown, dragging an IV pole. As he limped closer, the camera autofocused. It was Arthur Bell. Same face from the patient file photo. But then I realized something else. Behind him, barely visible in the flickering light, was me, standing in the doorway, watching him. The man turned to the camera, eyes black as coal, and said, "Code Blue, Ward 9. The feed glitched. For one frame, the image changed, Arthur's face burning, mouth open in a scream. Then static. A few weeks later, I saw a local news headline. Ridgeway Medical Center demolished to make room for new behavioral unit. They plan to rebuild over the same foundation. That night, I got a voicemail from an unknown number. "This is Ridgeway HR. We saw your experience on your resume. We'd love to have you back for overnight security. We're reopening the new Ward 9 next month. Please confirm your interest." There was a pause, then faint breathing. "Code Blue." Click. I moved states after that. I don't do night work anymore, but sometimes when I drive past hospitals late at night, I glance at the top floors. If you ever see a faint red light blinking on a floor that's supposed to be closed, don't look too long, because you might notice someone standing at the window, wearing a hospital gown, dragging an IV pole. And if your radio ever crackles with that same phrase, "Code Blue, Ward 9, don't answer, just run." Story 3. The warehouse on Route 12. People think working night security means doing nothing. They're mostly right. You walk the perimeter, make a note when a truck comes in, drink coffee, stare at cameras, and wait for the sun. I'd done gigs like that before, strip mall lots, self-storage yards, even a meatpacking plant once. But Keller Logistics Warehouse Route 12 was different. The job posting said, "Overnight security, 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., monitor shipments, patrol interior, $27 per hour, good money for my county." The building sat 10 miles outside Carson, Nevada, nothing but desert around. It used to be a mining supply depot before Keller bought it and turned it into a 24-hour logistics hub. When I showed up for training, the day supervisor, Benson, gave me the tour. Long concrete halls, 2 loading bays, a control office with 12 camera feeds. "Mostly we get trucks around 2 or 3 a.m., he said. "You log the delivery, check the paperwork, make sure they unload in the right section, then sign them out." He handed me a clipboard thick with carbon copy forms. "No system login yet. It's still setting up the new database. Everything's manual for now." He stopped by one steel door painted red. "That's Section D. Don't open it. Company storage only. Locked from both sides." I asked what was inside. He smirked. "Stuff that doesn't belong anywhere else." By midnight, the warehouse went quiet. The kind of quiet that hums in your ears. Rows of pallets stretched into the dark, the air heavy with dust and motor oil. The first truck came at 12:47 a.m. "Hendricks Freight." A middle-aged driver handed me his manifest. 16 crates. Destination Keller Logistics, Route 12. I checked the list. No sender address. Just the Keller logo stamped twice. He didn't seem to notice. "Where do you want them?" "Bay 2, I said. While the forklift unloaded, I skimmed the manifest again. Line after line said only, "Contents, industrial equipment. Weight, varies. No serial numbers, no origin, no signatures." When I asked Benson the next day, he shrugged. "We get contract shipments from partners. Some don't bother with full data. Long as the truck logs in, you sign it." Still, something about those empty fields bothered me. The next night, 2 more deliveries arrived, both after 3 a.m., both Keller trucks. Different drivers, same paperwork, blank sender, Section D storage. I logged them, stacked the forms on Benson's desk, and made a note to copy them later. When I came back the following night, the forms were gone. Benson said he hadn't touched them. Maybe accounting grabbed them. But the forms were never filed. I checked. That night, the red door to Section D was slightly open. Only an inch, but enough to see darkness beyond it. I locked it with my master key and told myself it was nothing. Week 2, I noticed camera 9, the one pointed at Section D, kept flickering. Every few hours, the feed glitched. White static for half a second, then back to normal. At 2:33 a.m., I happened to be watching when the feed froze completely. For about 10 seconds, the frame stayed still, the timestamp ticking, but the image unmoving. Then it jumped forward, like time had skipped. When it came back, the red door was open again. I walked there immediately, closed, locked. Back in the control room, I replayed the recording. The system showed no interruption, just a clean jump in time from 2:33:04 to 2:33:14. 10 seconds gone. I printed the clip and wrote a note. Camera malfunction? Next morning, the printed frame was missing from my clipboard. Around 3 a.m., the warehouse phone rang. We weren't supposed to get calls on the night line. It was internal only. I answered. Security office. Silence. Then faintly, a voice. Delivery. Route 12. Who is this? Click. 10 minutes later, headlights swept across Bay 1. Another Keller truck. No ID on the side. The driver was young, maybe mid-20s, wearing a reflective vest with no logo. Got a drop-off for D section, he said. He handed me a single sheet, not even a manifest, just a blank page, except for a barcode sticker. I scanned it out of habit. No response on the terminal. Where's the sender info? I asked. He shrugged. Dispatch just told me to bring it here. The trailer held only one crate, roughly the size of a refrigerator, covered in black shrink wrap. He wheeled it into Section D himself. When he came back, he didn't wait for a signature. Hey, I called after him. I need to log ... He was already in the cab pulling away. I checked the clipboard. The blank page was gone. Every shipment had to be entered into the main ledger kept in the office filing room. One night, while double-checking my logs, I realized the binder for March deliveries was missing. I searched all the cabinets. Nothing. On a hunch, I checked Section D's door. Still locked. But when I pressed my ear against it, I heard a faint motor hum, like refrigeration or ventilation running behind the wall. We didn't have any power lines routed to that section. Later, I traced the breaker panels. Section D's switch was off. The sound, though, continued, steady, mechanical, low. A few nights later, I noticed a car idling at the edge of the lot around 4 a.m. Black sedan, no plates, headlights off. I stepped outside with my flashlight. The engine shut off immediately. When I approached, the driver's window rolled down halfway. A man in a gray suit looked at me, late 50s, expressionless. You're Mercer? Yeah. He handed me a folded envelope from Keller Administration. Before I could ask anything, he drove off. Inside the envelope was a short note. Mr. Mercer, please discontinue any investigation into Section D manifests. These shipments are under federal non-disclosure. Continue your routine patrols. Do not record. Do not duplicate paperwork. No signature. At the bottom was a line typed in red. Violation of directive may result in termination or prosecution. I didn't know what kind of federal job involved an empty warehouse in the desert, but I wasn't about to find out. For a few nights, I kept my head down. On the 19th night, during my 2 a.m. round, I found a fresh pallet sitting in the middle of Bay 2. No truck, no driver, no paperwork. Wrapped in clear plastic, 20 small cardboard boxes, unmarked except for handwritten numbers. Each box had the same number, 412. I logged the find as abandoned freight. An hour later, the boxes were gone. I replayed the camera feed. The pallet was there at 2:04 a.m. At 2:05, the feed glitched for 1 second. Then it was empty. No sign of anyone entering or leaving. I checked the floor. The dust around the pallet space was undisturbed. Benson called me into his office the next morning. 2 men in suits were there, both wearing visitor badges with no names. "Mr. Mercer," one said, "we're performing an internal audit. A few discrepancies in your log sheets." He laid out several of my handwritten forms. All the entries for Section D were blank. I blinked. "They weren't blank when I filled them." The man smiled politely. "Perhaps you forgot to write the details." "I remember writing them," I said. "Wait, crate count," he interrupted. "We'll handle it. Continue your shifts as normal." When they left, Benson looked almost scared. "Jack," he said quietly, "don't mention Section D again. You didn't see anything, okay?" That Friday, storms rolled over the desert. Power flickered all night. Around 1 a.m., the generator kicked in, and every light in the building went out except Section D's hallway. It glowed bright white under the cameras, like an operating room. The red door stood open. I called Benson, straight to voicemail. I grabbed my flashlight and radio, walked down the corridor. The closer I got, the louder that low hum became, now more like a pulse, mechanical but rhythmic. Inside, the room was massive, much larger than the blueprint showed. The floor was polished steel. Rows of crates stretched into the dark, each labeled only with 4-digit numbers. 412, 412, 412. Dozens of them. At the far end, I saw one crate unwrapped. Inside, a black metal cylinder with wires running to a small terminal screen, blinking green text. Status: active. Cycle complete. Return confirmed. Before I could read more, the lights snapped off. Something clicked behind me. The door locking. I pounded on it, shouting into my radio. Static. Then a metallic thud from inside one of the crates. Another. Then several, like something moving inside. The hum grew louder, rising in pitch until it became unbearable. And then, silence. When the lights came back, the crates were gone. Every single one. Just an empty floor, slick with condensation. The door was open again. I left that night without clocking out. The next morning, the warehouse lot was filled with trucks and people in hazmat suits. A temporary fence had gone up overnight. A man in a black jacket stopped me at the gate. "Name?" "Jack Mercer. I work here." He looked at a clipboard. "You don't anymore." He handed me a sealed envelope. Inside, a termination letter effective immediately and a non-disclosure agreement. At the bottom, Failure to comply will result in legal action under U.S. Code 18, Section 798. I asked what that meant. He didn't answer, just said, "You should forget about Route 12. A month later, curiosity got me again. I'd secretly copied a few nights of footage to a thumb drive, mostly empty hallways. But one clip stood out. March 14th, 2:05 a.m. Bay 2. The pallet with the 412 boxes. The glitch occurs static for one frame, and for that frame I pause the video. In the blur of interference, you can see the boxes opening from the inside. Hands, or something shaped like hands, pushing the flaps upward. Then the frame cuts out. I tried showing the video to a friend who worked IT. He said, "This file isn't from any standard security format. It's got missing metadata, like it wasn't recorded, it was inserted." He wouldn't talk about it again. 13. The news. 2 months later, local headlines read, "Explosion at Keller Logistics Route 12. No casualties reported." The article claimed a gas line rupture. The site was sealed under environmental cleanup. I drove past it a week later. The warehouse was gone, leveled to concrete and sand. But someone had built a small utility shed in the center of the lot, surrounded by motion lights. On the fence hung a sign, "U.S. government property, no trespassing." I parked half a mile away, looked through binoculars. For just a second I saw something, a Keller truck, backing up to the shed, unloading a single black crate, labeled 412. A few nights ago, I got an email from an unlisted address. No subject line. Inside was one attachment, manifest_412.pdf. The file had only a single page, Project 412, return protocol status, active location, redacted handler, J. Mercer. That last line made my blood run cold. I deleted the email, shut down my laptop, and threw the thumb drive into the river. The next morning, there was a package on my porch, no label. Inside, a blank shipping manifest identical to the ones from Keller, except for one handwritten line at the bottom, "Delivery confirmed, Route 12. It's been 6 months. I moved 2 states over, new job, new number. Sometimes I wake up at 2:33 a.m., the exact timestamp from that camera glitch. And I swear I can hear that low mechanical hum under the silence. Last night, I checked my front porch. A small cardboard box sat there. No sender, no barcode, just 4 black digits written with a marker, 412. I didn't open it. I carried it to the desert outside town and buried it 6 feet down. When I came home, the lights in my living room flickered. On the TV screen, static for one frame. Then a line of text appeared, white against black. Cycle complete, return confirmed. And now every time I close my eyes, I can hear the faint whir of machinery, like something waiting for the next shipment. Somewhere, on a dark stretch of Route 12, the warehouse still exists, just not on any map.
If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe.